What's up, guys? In this video, it's going to be another wrestler profile. The wrestler I'm going to be talking about is Hulk Hogan. The career of Hulk Hogan, how it spanned since late 1970s to now. So start off in the 1980s. Of course, he started off in the AWA under Vern Gagne. He was a huge star there, and he just up and left the company to go to WWF for more money. With Vince McMahon pretty much convincing him to leave. While he was in the AWA, though, he did star in Rocky 3 as Thunderlips, and that was his first meeting, I guess, with Mr.T, because Mr.T was also in Rocky 3. And, that was around 82, and of course, the start of Hulkamania started around 83, when Hulk Hogan beat the Iron Sheik at Madison Square Gardens. And, Hulk Hogan as an individual became a huge household name. He had stereo. He was on pretty much every television show. He was on People magazine. He was all over the place, just this huge icon in the media industry. And, of course, beating the Iron Sheik created Hulkamania, which became another huge multimedia, slogan. Hulk Hogan would go on to feud, of course, with he tagged with Mr.T at the first WrestleMania with against Roddy Piper and Cowboy Bob Orton, and it was a huge success because it was the first connection between the MTV generation and the WWF, and for them to have Mr.T, who was a huge star with the A team, definitely added to the star power and the pull of WrestleMania. Then WrestleMania 2, he went up against King Kong Bundy in a steel cage match, which was interesting because it was the first WrestleMania that was simulcast in 3 different venues at the same time. So they're really rolling the dice with WrestleMania 2 because they didn't know if it would actually take off. And then WrestleMania 3, the big one, pretty much what happened with the storyline between Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan was Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant were friends. Andre the Giant was like 20 years without losing. Hulk Hogan was the WWF champion. Hulk Hogan was giving Andre the Giant the title shot that he wanted. So Andre the Giant turned heel, associated himself with Bobby the Brain Heenan, pretty much ripped the cross off of, or he did rip the cross off of, Andre the Giant ripped the cross off of Hulk Hogan in an interview with Jesse the Body Ventura. And then, of course, that would start the mega match between Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3. To me, the match, it was good in what it was, but at the same time, it wasn't the best quality of a match. So that was the iconic match. Then WrestleMania 4 was pretty much supposed to be the rematch between Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan, but there was a little bit of controversy between the two WrestleManias. There was Andre the Giant pretty much paying off or associating himself with Ted DiBiase to pay off a referee to win the belt back and then give the belt to Ted DiBiase. So the belt became vacant, which would lead to WrestleMania 4, which was a tournament. We all thought that we were going to see a huge match between Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan, but both men just pretty much went out there and they just got disqualified, so that would eliminate them both from the tournament to form a new champion. Of course, becoming champion was Macho Man Randy Savage. Then we had WrestleMania 5, where he went up against Macho Man Randy Savage because there was the huge explosion of the Mega Powers during that time. The Mega Powers, of course, were Macho Man and Hulk Hogan. And then they had, like I mentioned in my last video, they had an altercation where Hulk Hogan had carried Elizabeth to the back. Macho Man was jealous, and that, of course, created the feud between Macho Man and Hulk Hogan for WrestleMania 5. Hulk Hogan ended up winning WrestleMania 5, and then his next challenge was the Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior, of course, was an up-and-coming star in the industry, and this was a huge push for him. So WrestleMania 6 was Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan, Sky Dome. Hulk Hogan passed the torch to the Ultimate Warrior per se. Ultimate Warrior didn't hold the belt for very long. He lost to Sergeant Slaughter with the help of Macho Man and Randy Savage. But, sorry, that was before. Sorry, Ultimate Warrior lost the belt to Sergeant Slaughter, like I said. And then, basically, that led to Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter at WrestleMania 7. And then WrestleMania 8, what happened was Hulk Hogan See, there was Ric Flair and Macho Man that were having a feud, and then there was Sid, who was friends with Hogan, who started a feud against Hulk Hogan, and they couldn't just make the main event Macho Man versus Ric Flair. They had to throw Hulk Hogan into the mix. So Hulk Hogan went up against Sid Justice at the time. Sid has many names. And of course, it wasn't for the title, but of course, Hulk Hogan's name had to be plastered all over the billboards and stuff like that, just because of the name power that Hulk Hogan and Hulkmania had. WrestleMania 9, Hulk Hogan was actually in a tag team match with Brutus the Barber Beefcake against Money Incorporated. They were trying to get the tag team titles, and basically what happened was they had their match, and then you thought, okay, the main event's going to be Bret Hart versus Yokozuna. The match went good. The match ended controversially, I guess, with the whole salt from Fuji. Hulk Hogan runs in. Yokozuna wins the title. Yokozuna challenges Hogan. Hogan then goes on and beats Yokozuna for his title. Hogan only held the title from March till July, King of the Ring, where he dropped the title back to Yokozuna. And then after that, he would go to WCW with his whole Hulkamania. He would have matches against Ric Flair. And this Hulkamania persona lived there for a couple of years before the NWO was formed. The NWO, he was a key factor in it. He was a mystery man that ran in to help Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. And they would form the NWO, which would be another mega sensation media-wise for the wrestling industry. And during his career at WCW, he went from Hollywood Hogan, being a part of the black and white, to being a presidential figure. Just a lot of ups and downs in his WCW career. He would eventually return to WWF as the NWO in 2002, I believe, with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. He was supposed to go into the fight with The Rock as a heel, but ended up coming out as a face. There was just too many people that actually loved Hulkamania for him to actually pull off the heel figure. The next night in Montreal, he came back in the red and yellow. Hulkamania was reborn. And then he would last in the WWE for a couple of years before he took off to New Japan for a year. And eventually he would return to WWF or WWE in short stints, like here and there. And he would eventually sign to TNA, and that's where he is now. So that's my outlook on Hulk Hogan's profile. You guys let me know what you guys think. Follow me on Twitter, Leader Old School. Comment below, and please sub. Peace.